who's the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Honduras.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, moderator. For us to take part in this panel is extremely important, since Honduras recognizes essentially the complementarity between the various agendas, the 2030 agenda, the Paris Agreement, the Sendai framework, and the Addis Abeba agenda. All of this is interrelated. For countries like Honduras that receive cooperation, we need to go by stages in order to incorporate these agreements from international agendas into our national agenda. The first step would be to prioritize the goals. The goals which we select from the 2030 agenda should be relevant to the country vision. We must link these goals with the national planning system and also with the national budget to have resources to implement them, since a major mobilization of financial and non-financial resources are needed to reorganize all of this. The case of Honduras, for many years, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've developed a number of reforms to modernize public administration. What are the goals of this modernization? A more effective administration, a fairer one and more transparent one, focusing on results, that is, result-oriented. The second point is to define properly the protagonists. It's important for us to determine or to make sure that there is an environment where we have participation of all the actors that have to do with development. And we've created, to this end, a National Commission for Sustainable Development with the participation of civil society, government, and various state secretariats. Foreign Affairs coordinates international cooperation. The Secretariat of Finances and private areas, the academia and civil society, as well as international cooperation, which is represented by what we call as the G16, a number of donor countries. The third step is the need to generate the policy of cooperation for sustainable development. We are engaged in this process. There is a policy which is in its last stages, almost approved, and we've had extensive consultations trying to ensure that the policy is normative and also monitors cooperation to make sure that it is aimed at national priorities. And we want to have new dynamic relationships with the participants. It should promote and strengthen national capacities. And it should also strengthen South-South cooperation. And Honduras is very active in this from its perspective of a cooperating country and the supply, as well as multilateral banking mechanisms. And efficiency should be the very center of the policy. After 2 rounds of monitoring in our country, we've had the first effectiveness forum in Honduras in 2017 with a message of ownership and a platform of looking at all the cooperation, the ODA, and every form of assistance the country gets. And we saw a very positive result, the creation of the very first table or panel on this. It is one which has many actors, and we have social we have civil society and others, and it's different to the thematic panels which are coordinated on the basis of cooperation and do not always have the participation of all these actors. So I'd like to stress that this first arena we've arrived at from the Effectiveness Forum should provide for an inclusive relationship between the donor and the recipient, which is based more on supply than demand. Thank you.